Hey, I want to share some takeaways with you that I had from spending 3 days with about 150 different franchise companies and a bunch of funding companies last week. Number one takeaway that I have is now is the single best time in the past decade to be analyzing and researching franchises. Here's why. You get to see how a business performs during a thing, right? Like we've all been waiting for the shoe to drop. We were 12 years into an 8-year cycle. Since the last thing, well, the thing happened, and here you are with an opportunity and a vantage point to see how businesses perform, not only financially, but also what has the leadership done to help their franchise owners either capitalize on the opportunity in front of them if they're an essential service, or number two, if they're not an essential service, what have they helped their franchise owners do to help them weather the storm? I heard some amazing stories last week, which I tell you what, the entrepreneurial spirit is strong, which brings me to my second point. There are franchises that have grown through this whole thing. They were deemed essential. Next thing you know, customers are spending gobs and gobs of money on this one particular category, and these franchises were able to capitalize on that. Now, in the other case of some franchises that have had some restrictions put on them and they haven't been able to operate at full capacity, I truly believe that you will see franchise companies come out of this thing even stronger, because here's why. There were franchises that came in maybe with a gap of like that big on their competition. Well, now they're going to come in with like a massive gap because a lot of their competition's falling off, and the strong companies are weathering the storm. The leadership's helping the franchise owners take advantage of lower construction costs, taking advantage of the relief funds that are out there, as well as lease rates. Like we all speculate that the commercial retail market's going to come down. So that's going to lower the prices of a lot of these other businesses that might have some restrictions on them. So when coming out of this thing, there should be less competition, and the strong companies are going to just be able to gobble up more market share. The third thing is funding. Holy moly, there are some massive incentives out there through the SBA that were passed as part of the CARES Act. There's two big pieces to this thing. The first with which is this. If you use an SBA loan to fund a franchise, you get 6 months of principal and interest for free. Now, technically it's not free, the SBA is paying for it, but it doesn't cost you anything. That's 6 months of no payments, and they're not deferred. They are free. The SBA is paying for them. Here's the other thing. Deals are getting funded, and a lot of deals, depending on what type of loan you're looking at, what type of franchise you're looking at, do not require personal assets as collateral. Excuse me, you have to do a personal guarantee, but you don't have to pledge assets as personal assets as collateral on the deal. So that makes a lot of people feeling much more comfortable on the risk side of this thing. So 3 big takeaways of this. Number one, there are franchise companies that are performing very well through this thing. Number two, the funding is amazing. And number 3, now is the single best time in the past decade to be analyzing franchises, because you have access to see how companies perform during a crisis. And this crisis isn't going to be here forever, right? We're going to come out of this thing, which means those are the businesses that you want to be checking out. Now, if you want to talk about franchising or talk about any of these franchises that are out there, I'm happy to do so. Just book a call on my calendar by clicking on the link that's somewhere on the comments or on this page, and we can hop on a call and chat.